Hi, everyone. I'm Elida Zweidler-McKay, and I'm coming to you from ZM Coach, where we're all about helping you take your career to the next level, whether that's moving up in your current company or finding a new role somewhere else, or maybe you've already gotten a promotion and now you want to make the most of it so it sets you up for that ongoing career success that you're excited about. So today I want to talk to you about one of the challenges that I see people fall into when it comes to deciding what to do next in their careers. And I'm going to call it the sort of, it's like the Goldilocks Paradox. Um, what I see is people get stuck in one of two ways. On the one hand, they get really caught up in trying to figure out exactly what the next right move should be for them. So they read a lot of books. They try to do journaling. They try to figure out like what is it that I really want to do with my life, and what's the next move that I need to make, and what exactly should that next job be. And one of the things that can go wrong when you go to that extreme with that is getting stuck in the idea that there's one next perfect move. It's a little bit like imagining that there's only one perfect true love out there for you. You can narrow down your choices too much, and you can get a little too stuck in really trying to figure out like exactly which jobs to apply for, and exactly which levels, and exactly which industries, and exactly which titles. Um, and then you can narrow your search and your scope so much that you really kind of lock yourself out of a lot of potential opportunities, and you lock yourself out of a lot of potential conversations. So that is the challenge on the one hand of trying to be too precise about your next role, and trying to define it too much on your own before you're out in conversation with people and really learning more about what the different jobs are, and what the different possibilities would be for you. On the other extreme are folks who just kind of jump to a new role because they don't like their current one. So you're in a job, you're going along, things are not going well, it's starting to fall apart, it's not what you want, and you just grab the next thing that's available to you. And the problem with that is that without some kind of forethought or consideration, you can end up in a role that really isn't the right fit for you, or isn't really going to take you where you want to go in your career. Just because it's easy, just because it's landed in your lap, doesn't mean it's exactly the right move for you. Sometimes those things come along. You get a call from a recruiter. It sounds like an interesting opportunity. And of course, you're tempted just to run with it and take it. But in those moments, even there, being able to take a pause and see what else is there, what else might I want to do, is this really the right move for me, can make the difference between making the next move that's really going to take your career forward, and making the next move that's just sort of out of the frying pan and into the fire. So one of the things that I work with my clients on is coming up with a set of what I call pathways, where rather than trying to narrow down to your one next move or your one career path that's going to be where you're going to spend the rest of your career, we start to define based on your interests, based on your experience, based on what you like to do, based on what you're looking for in terms of your work-life balance and your lifestyle. We start to define a series of pathways that you can explore. And then we create an exploration plan where you really start to move through conversations with different people, maybe interviewing at different places, putting your resume out there to start to go down each of those different pathways in parallel. Now, I know you might be thinking, doesn't that take a lot of time? Well, it can. But the goal is to be strategic about it so that you're really learning with every conversation that you have in a way that's going to help you really understand what is a good fit for you, what's appealing to you, what sounds interesting to you, and what maybe doesn't once you get a little bit down the lane. What are you finding out about the kinds of opportunities that might work for you, the kinds of opportunities that might not. This is exactly the strategy that I used in my own career, starting 20 something years ago, and then continuing on over other changes that I made, where I was wanting to make the move from a strategy consulting firm into organization development. I knew that that's where my heart was. I wanted to work more on the people side, but I didn't really know what all that included. So I started networking and started getting to know this field of organization development. And as I did, I discovered that there were all these different pathways. There were people who spent their time mostly doing sort of training kind of roles. And there were people who did change management kind of roles. And there were people who worked in mergers and acquisitions and helping blend companies together. And there were people who worked with teams in conflict and did team coaching. And as I started to really understand all those different possibilities, I then also saw that there were ways to do that kind of work where you worked internally inside a company, where you worked for a consulting firm and were part of a big team, or where you worked independently. So, kind of mapping all that out gave me a sense of the territory. And then within that, I could see what were the different types of roles and types of opportunities that might appeal to me. And while I was doing that, I actually put my hat in the ring for a research project. I went to work for Rosabeth Moss Cantor at Harvard studying change management, and I helped to actually write a business school case. So if any of you have been to business school and you've done, those Harvard Business School cases, I wrote one. And it was a really fascinating experience. And what I discovered from that experience, which was about a year-long assignment, was that research wasn't for me. I enjoyed the interactions with people. I enjoyed understanding the situation and what was going on in their organization, but then writing about it and not being able to go in and do something about the challenges that I was seeing, not being able to pull people together and facilitate conversations and help them move through it. I felt like I had my hands tied behind my back and it just wasn't quite for me. So, that kind of shorter term project was a great opportunity for me to learn that that particular pathway called research was not my pathway. But in the meantime, and while I was going through that, I was also having conversations with other people and interviewing with other organizations and really getting a feel for what I did want to do, which was to work on the outside of an organization as a consultant and to do that as much as I could with teams of other people rather than just on my own. And that is the career that I sort of pursued and created for myself for the next, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, where I would go in and work with teams and organizations, some in change management and some in helping teams work together more effectively. But either way, really pulling people together to help them make the most of the time that they were spending at work so that they could be productive together and they could enjoy their work together. And most importantly, they could get things done that they could be proud of. So I did that for about 20 years. And then I got really curious about what's next. And I started looking at coaching and looking at all the different ways that somebody could be a coach. And I just pulled out that same strategy of thinking about what are the different pathways for coaching and started up my coaching business and started pursuing, ways of finding clients and ways of working with people, and have had a really great time coaching individuals for the last 5 years to take their careers to the next level, really helping them move through challenges, whether that's a layoff or a promotion that they're finding overwhelming, or just a feeling that it's time to move on, and really helping them define what that next chapter will look like and then land the job that's going to be the best fit for them, so that they can be really happy and satisfied and productive in their work and have the work-life balance and, sort of life experience that they want to have. And that's been really fun too. So if you find yourself feeling stuck in a place where you think it might be time to make a move, but you just can't decide what that is, and that lack of decision is holding you back, like, it's easy to get caught up in this kind of vicious cycle of, I don't know what I want, so I don't know what to apply for, or if I do apply, I don't know what to say, and then nothing comes of it. And so then I really don't know what to do. That kind of vicious cycle. That's a sign that maybe you're stuck too far on the one end where you're trying too hard to define it too tightly. Or if you're in this place where it's like you're just ready to jump to whatever's next and you're not going to think much about it at all. You just need to get out of there. That's another real warning sign. You can put yourself in a position where you end up wasting a fair amount of time in a job that you don't like, and like a year or two of your life doing that. So either way, I would really encourage you to take some time to find that middle ground where there's a series of opportunities that you want to consider and conversations to be had and research that you can do to figure out what those might be and how those might fit for you. And along the way, if you can work with a coach or a friend or an advisor to help you with that, I really recommend it. I think the work that I've done for my own clients has been helping them think that through, reflect on their experiences, see what they're learning, see what they're finding, see what they like. And I'm told that that's extraordinarily helpful. In my own process, I worked with a coach myself at various times to do that. And the very first time, I actually partnered up with a friend and we coached each other. So, whatever is the right strategy to get you some support so that you're not having to just do all that thinking by yourself, I think is a really good way to go. If you'd like to know more about what it could look like to have us support you with that, we'd be happy to talk with you more about that. You can book a call with us at zmcoach.net and zmcoach.com/apply. We'll get on the phone for about 45 minutes and talk with you about where you are in your career and where you want to go. And if we can help you get from here to there, we'll share what that would look like. And if we're not the right resource, we'll do our best to point you to someone who is. We look forward to hearing from you. Take care.